Chapter 24:16, The Dark Moon Civil War 1. Two terrifying auras collided within the abyss of eternal darkness, causing the heavens and earth to rumble incessantly. The confrontation between the dark moon and the abyss had now fully commenced. The sky above the abyss of eternal darkness was completely shrouded in darkness. The moonless night hung like a deathly curtain, weighing heavily upon every heart, making breathing itself a struggle. A low growl echoed from the depths of the rift, like the mutterings of a fallen god, reverberating across the land. Xian Yu Fei Ming, cloaked in pitch-black robes, stood as solid as the night itself. Her eyes flickered with an eerie purple-black glow. Gazing upon the formidable, oppressive first dark moon priestess before her, a wave of dread finally washed over her heart. Clearly, I have received the Lord's blessing. Why then, can I still not slay you? Is this the power you have gained? The first dark moon priestess's voice was cool, devoid of emotion. Nothing special. She snorted coldly. Have you forgotten? We are the race forged by the rebellious one. Samuel could defy the will of his creator, Kagago. So why should we, the humans he created, sacrifice ourselves for his will? She clenched her fists, her icy voice brimming with unwavering resolve, devoid of any hesitation. After being created by our Maker, we are free. We are not vassals to anyone, not even the gods. You cannot even possess your own self. How could you ever wield true, powerful strength? Xian Yu Fei Ming gritted her teeth in furious rebuttal, her attacks growing more intense. After a brief standoff, the first dark moon priestess spoke slowly, murmuring a chant, 10,000 moons shine together. In an instant, the night sky seemed to tear apart. Dozens of illusory dark moons appeared across the heavens, simultaneously showering their radiance. That light wasn't darkness, but an ancient tranquility, like the slumber of time itself. Xian Yu Fei Ming's movements froze instantly. She felt the power within her body shackled by invisible chains, its flow becoming sluggish. Impossible! She roared, terror flashing in her eyes. This power. It can actually suppress even His Majesty Samuel's bestowed power? The first dark moon priestess slowly stepped through the void of darkness, her form as immutable as the eternal night sky. Have you forgotten? Samuel's power was always suppressed by us, the dark moon priestesses. Do you truly believe a mere bestowed power could stand against us? Boom! She raised her hand, and a colossal ancient moon crashed down from the heavens. Transforming into a gigantic blade, seemingly capable of crushing the entire abyss, it slashed viciously toward Xian Yu Fei Ming's body. Xian Yu Fei Ming scrambled to block, yet was sent flying an endless distance. Blood spurted from her chest with a pft sound, tearing open a horrific gash. Yet as the blood splattered, Xian Yu Fei Ming's smile grew even more savage. Excellent! Absolutely excellent! Xian Yu Fei Ming roared furiously to the heavens. The blood moon behind her suddenly shattered, transforming into countless tentacle-like tendrils of dark energy that surged madly into her body. Her form began to warp. Half her face twisted into pitch-black bone, while the other half retained its human appearance. Clawed arms sprouted from her shoulders, while wing-like black fissures extended from her back. This was the fusion of human and demon god power, the mark of being utterly consumed by the abyss. Lord Samuel! Let me devour this entire false reality. She swung her claws, tearing through the void. A dark storm descended like doom, engulfing the entire abyss of eternal darkness. The first dark moon priestess gazed solemnly, murmuring softly, Xian Yu. You are utterly lost. She raised both hands, unleashing the power within her completely. Boom! The night sky abruptly dimmed as a colossal ancient moon emerged, vast enough to obscure the heavens and earth. Its radiance enveloped the abyss of eternal darkness, firmly suppressing all shadows. The two forces collided violently at the valley's depths, shattering the void and collapsing mountains. In that moment, it felt as if the entire world teetered between destruction and rebirth. Xian Yu Fei Ming's body gradually fractured, blood and darkness intertwining, yet her laughter grew increasingly maniacal. Ha ha ha! Even so, you cannot alter the outcome. His Majesty Samuel shall return. Your sacrifices are utterly futile. The first Dark Moon Priestess's gaze turned icy as her hands snapped together. Be sealed once more. Boom! The ancient moon plummeted, engulfing Xian Yu Fei Ming's form and crushing her deep within the abyss of eternal darkness. Caught between two colossal forces, Xian Yu Fei Ming's body rapidly cracked apart before exploding violently. Yet she did not die. From the remnants of her old flesh, a brand new body began to grow. Her human form was utterly lost. She transformed into a beautiful monster, at least by human standards. She possessed an eerie, almost artistic beauty. A devilishly curvaceous figure, sinister dark bone wings unfurled behind her, and her entire face had become a skeletal mask. Heh. Her laughter echoed through the dark abyss, sounding like mockery yet tinged with fury. The power of the demon god has granted me immortality. Ember Moon Misha, do you not crave such power? She caressed her new form with intoxicated delight. Come, join me. You too shall gain this eternal life and formidable power. Yet not a flicker of emotion stirred in Ember Moon Misha's eyes. You have fallen completely. You seem to have forgotten why we chose to break with Samuel. Kagago, the creator of the universe, even when seeking to destroy a race, would at least adhere to the rules of the physical world he established. But the Drucker Titan, possessing human-like emotions and intellect, operated without any principles whatsoever. Only fools would believe the promises they made. The High Priestess's words had barely faded when terrifying power erupted once more, colliding violently with Xian Yu Fei Ming. Deep within the abyss of eternal darkness, a veil of deathly stillness seemed to shroud the heavens and earth. Here, no light existed. Only crimson-black energy seeped through the fissures, churning and boiling, the power of Samuel, the very source of destruction and chaos. The entire valley trembled as if stirred by a colossal beast's breath. The air hung heavy, oppressive enough to choke the soul. A rumbling from the abyss's depths echoed like eternal thunder, a low, throbbing roar that blurred the line between natural tremors and a titan turning in its sleep. A soul-corroding stench permeated the air, unsettling the mind as if it might be swallowed whole at any moment. At the very edge of this dreadful place, Father Orion and Sister Linets knelt in reverent devotion. Before them lay open a forbidden tome, a copy of the Apocalypse. Its pages stirred without wind, radiating a milky white holy glow. Yet this light was impure, intertwined with the crimson-black radiance of the abyss, forming an eerie, twisted hue. As if sanctity and profanity shared the same origin, light and darkness now entwined in this very moment. Chapter 24:17, The Dark Moon Civil War II. Sister Leibniz chanted softly, her voice sounding like both a lament and a prayer. The sorrowful, ethereal sound carried through the fissure to the depths of the abyss, as if summoning some slumbering entity. Father Orion's expression was grim, his eyes flickering with a light that was both devout and mad. Black energy seeped from the fissure in tendrils, drawn to the Book of Revelations. Those manipulating it inevitably felt the dark force's influence upon their bodies. That power was icy, searing, and soul-piercing, yet it brought unmatched might. Their subtle movements went unnoticed, for the other Dark Moon Priest's full attention was fixed on the two combatants in the decisive battle. Yet the power they had stolen from Samuel within the abyss of eternal darkness was but a minuscule fraction of the true might of the four horsemen of the Apocalypse. Father Orion's fingers trembled slightly from the force surging through them. Yet his voice remained as steady as a rock. Leibniz, this is the Lord's will. Only by bearing the burden of blasphemy can we save all living beings. Tears silently fell from Leibniz's eyes, landing on the pages of the book, only to be swiftly engulfed by a milky white radiance. Her voice was hoarse, as if defending herself. If this is fate, I shall become an instrument of lamentation. Even cursed, even damned, I shall see the greater cause fulfilled. Unaware, their actions were silently altering the power balance within the abyss of eternal darkness. Crimson-black energy surged violently, the abyss's rumbling intensifying as if something responded to their greed. The oppressive pressure in the air intensified abruptly, the earth trembling with heartbeat-like urgency. Yet, just as they were immersed in this blend of joy and sorrow, the air froze solid. The restlessness of heaven and earth ceased in an instant, as if all turbulence had been suppressed by some higher power. It was an indescribable aura, cold, sharp, and as unyielding as a divine decree. Father Orion and Leibniz's sixth sense detected that icy, murderous intent. They didn't need to turn to know who approached behind them. They didn't die in the dark sun forest. Father Orion gritted his silver teeth, his eyes filled with disappointment. Even if we couldn't kill them, we should have at least delayed them long enough. Those fools! What a waste! He cursed Yalan and the mysterious assassin in his anger. Upon their arrival, Pope Alexander X had warned them that these human alliance forces could become obstacles. Chaos, in particular, might prove their greatest trouble. It was precisely for this reason they had harnessed the power of Xian Yu Fei Ming to lure Jeang Yi and his companions into the dark sun forest. Yet who could have foreseen that in just a single day, not only would they successfully complete the mission to retrieve the fire seed, but they would also discover this place? Could it be that their mission had been compromised as well? Father Orion and Sister Leibniz grew visibly panicked. If their actions were discovered, given Jeang Yi and his companions' style, they would undoubtedly slaughter every Templar present. Their own deaths mattered little. But they must return the stolen power of Samel to Vatican City. At that moment, Jeang Yi led his group to the abyss of eternal darkness. Upon seeing the Knights Templar, not a trace of surprise flickered in Jeang Yi's eyes. On their first day on the moon, Jeang Yi had instructed Gao Changkong to activate his ability. Using Diaolon as the anchor, he unleashed the power of reincarnation theory. Gao Changkong had concealed something from him until later, when Jeang Yi had Yang Xinxin shoot him with an arrow. Only then did Jeang Yi learn that Gao Changkong, along with Xian Yu Fei Ming, belonged to a secret faction among the lunar people, the Shattered Seal sect. Discovering such a major revelation immediately upon arriving on the moon truly astonished Jeang Yi. But as a newcomer, even if he spoke of it, no one would believe him. So he remained silent, instead controlling Gao Changkong. When the first reincarnation theory, cooldown ended, he manipulated Gao to unleash the ability against Xian Yu Fei Ming once more. Thus, he uncovered everything, including the clandestine alliance between the Holy See and the Shattered Seal sect. Ironically, those who once revered the Brilliant Moon clan as angels had secretly aligned with the Shattered Seal sect. As for the reasons behind it, Jeang Yi remained unaware. Perhaps those in the church truly sought to ascend to heaven by sacrificing all of humanity. At that moment, Saladin, Morgan, King Arthur, and the others wore expressions of fury. Human traitors! Who would have thought you could ally with the fanatics among the lunar people to turn against your own kind? Madmen! You're all utterly insane. Do you seek to destroy the entire human world? The furious shouts echoed relentlessly. The Knights Templar stood in perfect formation, their armor glinting in the dim light. Their gazes were grave, their expressions taut, the air thick with a palpable sense of impending doom. Yet, their faces betrayed an undeniable tension. The Knights Templar simply couldn't hold back against so many top-tier and second-tier human powerhouses. Brian stood not far from Jeang Yi, vigorously swishing his tail. Frowning, he muttered under his breath, "Damn it, this place is haunted. The stench of evil is worse than a graveyard." Fatty Sue couldn't resist chiming in, "Cut the crap. This isn't a graveyard, it's the ultimate boss's lair. Did we enter the wrong instance? Should we warm up by taking out some minions first?" Professor Da Vinci rolled his eyes. "Shut up, you two idiots. Can't you read the room? Keep blabbering, and I'll toss you into the abyss as fertilizer." The brief banter did little to lighten the mood, only making it feel heavier. They knew they faced more than just Orion and Leibniz. This was betrayal, a collusion between the Holy See and the abyss, the very source of blasphemy and calamity. The mere after-effects of the distant battle between two transcendent beings sent shivers down their spines. Jeang Yi's gaze grew icy. He stepped forward, the demon god armor of the end emitting a cold metallic clang. His eyes pierced Orion and Leibniz like blades as he coldly uttered, "Are you prepared to die?" Before his words faded, space shock struck. Countless transparent doors of space unfolded from nothingness, encircling Jeang Yi like a vast three-dimensional labyrinth. Behind each door lay infinite void and devouring darkness, the air torn apart with shrill screeches. Everything under heaven had fully opened. Then, the fingers of his left hand moved lightly, as if plucking an invisible string. Instantly, the dimensional string severance activated. Invisible strings of light flashed, like the sharpest swords forged from time itself, bitterly cold, absolute, and utterly unstoppable. Silent and without warning, the supremely powerful slash technique was unleashed. Chapter 24:18, The Dark Moon Civil War 3. Father Orion's body froze rigid in an instant. He didn't even have time to utter a prayer, his frenzied killing intent suppressed deep within his chest. The next moment, his body was sliced into countless tiny fragments like paper. His flesh shattered, bones neatly severed, all collapsing within the spatial rupture, scattering into a silent mist of blood. The scene was brutally cruel, yet coldly detached. It seemed as though Jeang Yi had merely plucked a string on his instrument, effortlessly erasing a formidable presence. True killing intent required no complexity. It was as simple as crushing an ant, a casual, effortless annihilation. Sister Leibniz's pupils suddenly contracted. Her chanting was abruptly halted, a suppressed sob rising from her throat. Tears welled up in her eyes once more. She reached out, desperate to grasp the fragments scattered through the air, to hold on to even a trace of warmth. Yet her fingertips touched only the icy air and merciless void. Orion was swallowed whole. The blood mist plummeted into the abyss of eternal darkness, instantly consumed by the inky depths, leaving not even ashes behind. The roar of the abyss of eternal darkness surged violently, as if the blood had made it even more frenzied. A deep, rumbling echo filled the heavens and earth, as if Samuel had opened his eyes from slumber, gazing down upon the battlefield with an icy, all-seeing stare. Jeang Yi's expression remained utterly unruffled. His gaze was cold and unyielding, like that of a lofty arbiter. To him, slaughter was merely the cleansing of decay and filth. The Knights Templar warriors all held their breath, cold sweat trickling down their temples. Brian's eyes widened as he muttered under his breath, "Damn it. Bro, you sure got that done clean." Fatty Sue's face drained of color as he muttered shakily, didn't even give him a chance to react. That priest died faster than a roadside chick. Saladin, who had witnessed Jeang Yi's power throughout their journey, interjected coldly, "This is the gap in strength. Weak humans always believe they can control power, unaware that in the eyes of true masters, they are less than ants." No one dared speak further, for they all understood this strike was not only judgment for Orion but a warning to everyone present. Jeang Yi had demonstrated to all present, in this abyss, he alone was the ruler, and his will was the only law. The blood mist still hung heavy between heaven and earth, yet the rumbling of the abyss of eternal darkness grew ever more violent. Crimson-black energy surged wildly, as if brewing an even greater upheaval. Sister Leibniz collapsed to the ground, tears falling to dampen the dust beneath her feet. Her sobs were low, yet carried a soul-shredding sorrow. "Lord, why such cruelty? Why even mourning is forbidden?" Yet her lament received no answer. The abyss answered only with a colder, deeper growl, a sound that seemed both mocking and expectant. Jeang Yi stood tall and stern amidst the blood mist and darkness, his gaze serene yet so piercing it was impossible to meet. The first. His fingers twitched again. Pfft. The body of Middelin, the angel of the sun, exploded, shattering mid-air into a mist of blood. Through shifting light, hundreds of crisscrossing fissures could faintly be seen across his form. Pfft. Serial, the angel of the moon, met his end in the same manner, dying almost simultaneously with his old brother. Jeang Yi executed one life after another with an expressionless face. Anyone who dared to scheme against him, who brought him even the slightest danger, had to die. Regardless of their purpose, regardless of who they were. If they were weaker than Jeang Yi, he would kill them without mercy. But if an existence surpassed Jeang Yi, he would endure until the moment he could kill, then eradicate them without mercy. Pfft. Pfft. Almost simultaneously, the entire Knights Templar, these geniuses considered Euro's top elite, were reduced to mangled corpses. Blood stained the earth crimson. Pieces of flesh mingled with shattered sacred robes and armor, resembling a freshly cooked dish of blood pudding. Even King Arthur and the others were chilled to the bone by Jeang Yi's decisive and ruthless execution. If Jeang Yi could instantly slay Father Orion and the entire Knights of the Round Table, then eliminating them would likely require little effort. The black mist within the abyss of eternal darkness churned more violently, as if sensing the impending cataclysm. The air thickened with the acrid scent of scorched flesh, the lingering traces of clashing energies. Father Orion, who should have perished, slowly coalesced within an eerie halo of sacred light. His flesh and soul seemed reshaped from the void itself. Bathed in the radiance of the Book of Revelations, he rose once more. Above his head, the light of the Book of Revelation shone, countless threads of luminous essence rapidly coalescing into a majestic, radiant form. More imposing than the original Father Orion, it resembled an angel from mythological murals. All were stunned by this spectacle. Even Jeang Yi, who had witnessed countless bizarre events, raised an eyebrow slightly. He knew well that the dimensional string severance was no ordinary attack, it was a spatial cutting technique transcending physics. Torn apart by such an assault, recovery should have been impossible. Yet Orion had returned, proving the power of the Book of Revelations ran far deeper than they had imagined. All trace of calm had vanished from Orion's eyes. A searing light blazed from his entire being, a radiance mingled with agony and fervor. His whisper echoed as if carrying the resonance of the entire world, "The Lord watches over me. My faith shall not perish, nor shall my soul." Instantly, he raised both hands. The Book of Revelations unfolded above his head, its pages turning frantically. The verses of the sacred scriptures were chanted in a hymn-like voice, filling the air. This is the glorious sacrifice of the devout believer. Orion's roar echoed across the entire abyss of eternal darkness. In that instant, the entire space seemed ignited by holy light. Countless devout prayers reverberated through the dark abyss, the voices of all souls dedicated to faith throughout the river of time converging into a torrent. Orion's flesh burned, his very life serving as kindling to push devotion to its ultimate limit. Sacred radiance exploded like the sun, forming a blinding cascade of light too intense to behold. Sister Leibniz had been keeping her distance from Jeang Yi, silently observing everything. Before she could comprehend Orion's intent, she was utterly engulfed by that blinding radiance in an instant. All who witnessed it saw her body shatter within the dazzling holy light, as if torn into countless fragments and violently dispersed. The scene was so brutal it left everyone present speechless. Orion, why would he kill his own comrade? Could he have been corrupted too? Shouts of disbelief erupted, none grasping the unfolding horror. Yet a cold gleam flashed in Jeang Yi's eyes. He noticed Leibniz's dissipation differed from death. This wasn't mere annihilation, some method had forcibly torn through space, transferring the spirit away.